reckless and criminal speed, and then proceeded to turn a simple traffic stop into a felony evasion, endangering the lives of not only the officer that was in pursuit, but also the citizens of New Hanover that he claims to care so much about and protect. It seems that Mr. Fraley got lucky in this pursuit. Due to the care shown by the officers involved, they did not perform the maneuvers needed to catch Mr. Fraley, in fear that it could actually hurt the public, and he evaded the pursuit for a short time. Mr. Fraley would have you just believe that since he was not ID'd, that we cannot find him guilty, but unfortunately that is incorrect. I will show you exactly how we identified Mr. Fraley, how he was identified by a sworn officer of the law, and will show you concrete evidence to support these claims. I will show you the intent to flee the state of New Hanover to avoid these charges, and how Mr. Fraley orchestrated this with the help of his employees. Now, there's an old saying that reads, bad guys must get lucky every time. Good guys only have to get lucky once. Well, unfortunately, Mr. Fraley's luck has ran out, and tonight he'll face the consequences of his actions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Freyelli, you may proceed with your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would like to first and foremost thank you for taking time out of your busy lives to do your civic duty and serve as a member of the jury of this trial. As a fellow citizen, local business owner, resident, family man, philanthropist, and of course, a peer of yours, I understand and appreciate the importance of the duty you are fulfilling today. You, ladies and gentlemen, are helping to protect your fellow man and woman, your friends and neighbors, your family members, and your loved ones. By the service you are performing here today, you are helping to guarantee the rights of all of us under the Constitution of this great nation that we all call home. With the evidence set forth by the defense, we will not only invalidate the claims and accusations by an officer who could not have positively ID'd the alleged driver of the vehicle, but also show how the state's prosecution office intends to twist facts that are obvious to the case and imply a malicious intent with such evidence. At the conclusion of this trial, the defense asks that as you weigh the evidence, you understand that the burden of proof is on the state beyond a reasonable doubt. Their evidence is irrelevant, unsubstantiated, and even manipulated to suit the narrative. That is all, Your Honor.
Mr. Powell, are you ready to call your first witness?
Your Honor, the prosecution will call its witness in just one moment. I'm having another technical issue. I can't really hear you. Sounds like you're really low.
Evening, gentlemen.
Do you mind reiterating that, Your Honor?
Are you ready to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution will call Trooper Waldvogel of the New Hanover State Patrol.
Very well. Trooper, would you please request permission to speak?
Yes, Your Honor.
Trooper requests to speak.
Can you hear me, Your Honor?
I can. Before the prosecution begins, I'll swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this court, so help you God?
I do.
Very well. Mr. Powell, you may proceed.
Good afternoon, Trooper. Um, I want you to start by kind of telling us about your expertise, how long you've been with the department, things like that.
Okay.
I've been with the department a couple months now. I've worked my way up in the department where I became a lieutenant because of my duties in the department. Um, I've shown excellence and nothing but excellence in the department. And I've worked my way up for a reason.
Do you have any kind of disciplinary actions against you in the department?
I do not.
You ever been questioned of any of your observations in the past?
I do not.
Okay. You mind recounting the events of the night in question, please, regarding Mr. Freyelli?
Um, that night on August 6th, I witnessed what was a cream colored BMW pass me coming westbound on Joshua. In the front side window of the vehicle, I seen what appeared to be from facial features be Antonio Freyelli. I turned my patrol car around, which at the time I believe was a 21 Durango. I turned my patrol car around, got behind Mr. Freyelli, and attempted a traffic stop. Mr. Freyelli pulled into the back of a resident's home on Joshua, where I then approached the passenger side of the vehicle, where tint was
Oh,
too dark to
objection,
see
Your Honor.
inside.
On what grounds?
Testimony is dictating as fact, even though it is still unproven as up to this point. Allegedly, Mr. Freyelli, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Your Honor, it's the sworn testimony of an officer. He can recount the events.
The objection. The objection is overruled. However, uh, please, Mr. I'm sorry. What was your last name again? Vogel.
Yes. Waldo.
Waldo. Okay. Mr. Waldo, when you were referring to whoever you were chasing, do not call Mr. Freyelli by name until a basis for his identification has been made.
Understood, Your Honor.
Continue.
After I pulled behind this cream and color BMW, I did a passenger approach on the vehicle where tint was too dark to fully identify who was inside. The cream and color BMW then took off on me, leading me into high speed pursuit in my 21 Durango. We went through towns of Grapeseed, where I then made the decision to terminate the pursuit for public health and my own health, along with other officers. We later followed up that night, or that morning, with the cream and color BMW sitting at the Yellow Jack. No one was in sight of the BMW, and it was brought to impound.
Pack of what?
Okay.
Pack of gun.
Trooper Waldo, when you were passing, you said you were coming off the interstate and he was going, excuse me, you were going towards the interstate and he was coming from the interstate, the initial contact?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. And so, can you describe the conditions of the roadway?
At the time, it was going to be clear. There was no rain the following day, so road conditions were clear and dry.
What about the state of, the sky? Was it night, evening,
It was going to
daytime?
be towards night, yes.
Okay, so your headlights would make contact with the front of his vehicle, correct?
Affirm.
So when you look through into his front windshield, which was not tinted, correct?
Correct, sir.
He was clearly able to be seen as Antonio Freyelli.
Correct, sir.
That's how
Objection,
you.
Your Honor.
Grounds.
Again, this is speculation on unproven fact. Sure, an oncoming car will illuminate your face with the headlights, but your car will do the same to them. And anyone who ever knows cars with LED or high intensity headlights, kind of blind you. So, I mean, I have to object to this part of the testimony.
Your Honor, that's not always true. Also, this is him recounting what he saw. This is a sworn testimony, and is not going to be constantly objected to as subjector when you haven't proven that my officer is lying. So, by your own logic with
Objection,
the
Your Honor.
objection, you kind of defeat yourself.
Objection, Your Honor. The burden of proof is not, in fact, on myself, Your Honor.
The burden of the objection is, Your Honor.
The objection is overruled. This is a recount of the officer's experience.
Thank you, Your Honor. So just to reiterate, you could clearly see with the light shining through the front windshield, which was not tinted at the time, of Mr. Freyelli sitting in the driver's seat of the vehicle.
Man who appeared to be
Correct.
Correct.
Freyelli, correct?
Can you talk about the traffic conditions during the pursuit as far as other traffic on the road, pedestrians, or what, if any, obstructions were there on the roadway?
Yeah. So, as most of you know, Grapeseed Main Street is probably the biggest part of Grapeseed itself. It is always full of people, no matter time of day. At this time, it was indeed full of parked vehicles, people walking on the sidewalks, and vehicles driving on the road. That is one of the main reasons why I terminated pursuit, was for the health of them, because of the dangerous conditions of the driving that the driver of the cream and color BMW is handling in.
Okay, and when you made the last stop and you found the BMW abandoned behind the Yellow Jack, exactly where was it behind the Yellow Jack?
Sir, it was going to be in the front of the Yellow Jack, backed up towards the door.
Okay.
It was going to have the same license plate and everything.
As the initial stop,
Correct, sir.
and that license plate registration comes back to Antonio Freyelli.
Correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
Has there been a bolo
Objection,
placed?
Your Honor.
Yes, sir. There's been a polo.
Hang on, Trevor Waldo. Freyelli, what's your objection?
Your Honor, the defense, similar with the aircraft evidence that was thrown out of court, the defense has
Objection, Your
never
Honor.
once
Bring
never
up
once
the evidence.
denied owning the vehicle.
There was no dispute about who owned the vehicle currently. It's just right now. It's just verification on whose vehicle it comes back to.
This is admitted into evidence, Your Honor. Please instruct the defendant to not try to sway the jury by constantly objecting to testimony.
The defense can object. As much as they want to.
On legal grounds.
Understood, Your Honor. I'm just trying to clarify statements that seem to be construed and contrived.
Objection, Your Honor.
In fact,
Testimony.
sway the attorney.
Currently, the objection about the vehicle is overruled. This is just a basis on what the license plate comes back to on the vehicle.
Thank you, Your Honor. The registration is also admitted into evidence, which I would like the appeal board to turn to now.
There you go, buddy.
See if I could share my screen. Or is there any way to do that, Your Honor?
Let me check.
If not, it's okay. The appeal board could just be instructed to view the data.
Currently, I don't know how to do that in a meeting like this. Which one are you? What are you pulling up right now?
P02, Your Honor.
02. That would be the vehicle registration.
That's correct.
Members of the appeal board, please direct your attention to the general chat. That will contain the link of the evidence that Mr. Powell is referring to.
I hear Walker out there somewhere. No, I did that one before. This is lean 3. Lean bar 3.
All right, proceed, Mr. Powell.
Okay. I believe that's all the questions I have at this time, Your Honor.
Yeah, this one doesn't
Very well.
really look that
Mr.
much better,
Freyelli,
to be completely
cross-examination.
honest.
Can't move.
Your Honor, he's deafened.
I can't move. I gotta relog. What the fuck?
Mr. Freyelli, cross-examination for this witness.
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, I had a bit of an issue there with the old hearing aid.
Not a problem. You may proceed.
All right. Is it trooper? Is it deputy? I'm sorry.
Trooper.
Trooper. Okay. Trooper. You said you passed the defendant in the evening,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, the alleged vehicle in the evening at nighttime. Traffic conditions were clear, and all you got was a brief, 1 second glancing pass as your vehicles passed each other. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. I was at speeds of 50 miles an hour, I recall, and person driving the cream and colored BMW was clock going 94.
Okay, so on top of it being nighttime, you having headlights, shining at you as yours are shining at the other person, the vehicle passed you at a high rate of speed, you're saying?
Okay, we're not going to do that one.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And per
Lean
your
bar 5 isn't one.
testimony on the evidence submitted
Just go
by
back
the
to that one.
prosecution, you state had the appearance of the defendant. Is that correct?
I affirm the facial features of the person matches description.
So you would say they appeared similar to.
Correct.
Now, Trooper, why didn't you use the phrase "I positively ID'd"? I realized it was, etc., etc. Why was it somewhat hesitant in its explanation of who the individual was? Is that because perhaps you were not 100% sure?
Objection, speculation.
Your Honor,
The
it's a question to the witness, not a statement on my
You're
part.
inquiring as to his mental state, which you could not possibly know.
Negative, Your Honor. I'm
Is-
asking.
You see
if
little
he was-
sensors on the
why he didn't write down he
ceiling.
was 100% certain, unless he was not 100% certain of the identity.
the objection is overruled. It's not speculation unless you're asking about someone else's mental state. He can testify to his own mental state.
Correct. So, in order for me to fully identify someone, I need a full name, date of birth, address, a good contact information through them. Okay. The only reason I got a partial ID from them is just because of the facial features.
Okay, so
didn't the plate
here
match too?
under oath, in court in front of the jury, you are admitting you got a partial, partial view, not enough for a 100% guaranteed ID of the person driving.
Correct, I am.
Okay. Can the defense would like this to be noted in the record, Your Honor, the witness's answer to that specific question.
Very well noted.
Okay. Also, Trooper, why wasn't your dash cam or your body cam running? Either on the stop, after the stop, during the stop, before the stop. Why was none of the surveillance equipment that the taxpayers foot the bill for even working?
That night, I believe we had some troubles with the dash cam not activating.
Okay, all right. Well, you're you're not. I assume anyway, you're not a technician on electronic equipment, so that's no reflection on you. I can understand if your equipment's not working. You do the best you can with what you have. I think that's pretty much it for us, Your Honor, with this with this witness. The defense would like to rest this one.
Very well. Mr. Powell, redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to also note that this whole trial is on the record, so there will be no need for special notes or anything like that, as it's all going to be transcribed by the county clerk.
You may proceed with your redirect.
Trooper Waldo, so will you define for the jury one more time what you consider as a positive ID on a suspect?
Well, I put it in two categories. I got a positive ID on somebody, which would be if I had their full name, date of birth for the person, a good contact, and an address for them. That's how I fully identify somebody. The
So
way I
anything,
identify.
I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead. So anything that falls short of that definition would be considered a partial identification, correct?
Correct.
So if you were to see me on the street and you saw me represented like I do now, you would not know entirely who I am until I'm ID'd, because I could be anybody who resembles me, correct?
Correct.
However, in this case, it is a little different because Mr. Freyelli is a very popular public figure. I mean, his face is everywhere. He owns a very
Objection,
successful
Your Honor.
company.
You need to be
Grounds.
searched once you leave.
The prosecution is leading the witness,
His
guiding
witness.
him for answers he's anticipating.
This is a statement of fact, Your Honor. He actually testified to this in the pretrial motions.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Mr. Freyelli is a self-proclaimed man of the people, and he is a very, very popular figure, according to his own words, and even in his opening statement. He's a philanthropist, yada, yada, yada. Is this something you would more easily recognize because of who
Shit.
this person is?
Antonio is a very big feature, as he said, and I've known him for quite a while on media platforms. Um, that was one thing that did kind of lead me more towards who he was.
Okay. And so your partial identification is mainly you trying to follow the letter of the New Hanover definition, the New Hanover State Patrol definition of IDing someone, rather than saying you didn't get a good look at them. Would you say that one more time, sir?
Correct.
Okay. Prosecution rests on that, Your Honor.
Mr. Waldo, you are dismissed. Mr. Powell, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, I believe it's the defense's witness.
Mr. Freyelli, do you have another line of questioning for this witness?
Your Honor, our other witness unfortunately had to submit a sworn, testimony due to not being able to be present. It's going to be the testimony defense piece of evidence.
No. Do you have any more questions for Mr. Trooper Waldo?
We already covered this.
Oh,
Your
well,
Honor, that's objection. That's closed.
yeah, he's gone. He dipped.
He dipped.
Mr. Powell, do you have any further witnesses? It's your side, all your side's witnesses, and then defense.
I do, Your Honor, but in the spirit of fairness, I'd like to give Mr. Freyelli the opportunity to read his statement now, or you may call another witness. How do you want to handle this? It says cannot be there.
Since this witness cannot be physically present, Mr. Freyelli, you are free to either read verbatim the statement that your witness has given to you, or we can post it in the general chat again.
Yeah, just Your Honor, keeping with the current trend. Yeah, let's, if you don't mind, if we could just drop it there. That way, the jury can, read it at their own pace and digest the information.
Very well. Give me one. And just to verify, this is Defense D05.
Yes, Your Honor, should be Mr. Torres's sworn testimony.
Very well. So, gentlemen of the appeal board, actually turn your attention to the appeal board channel. You should have that role for this piece of evidence. I will allow 60 seconds to read the document. It is not that long.
Your Honor, during this recess, I'd like to ask, is Mr. Freyelli going to be giving this presentation again, like orally again and representing the facts himself, or is it already submitted as testimony on his behalf?
He will be presenting it one more time in this proceeding.
Okay.
In the interest of, perhaps time or whatever, Your Honor, I would also be okay with the jury just having another peek at it as a refresher. Seems like it might pass, might be a little easier that way anyway.
New argument for me, Your Honor.
Go ahead, Mr. Powell.
Okay, the prosecution would like to call. I'm sorry, is the 60 seconds passed on the last evidence?
Yes, it is.
The prosecution would like to call Mr. Freyelli to the stand.
Very well. Mr. Freyelli, I'm going to administer the oath. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this proceeding, so help you God?
Yeah.
Very well. Mr. Powell, you may proceed.
Mr. Freyelli, you doing okay this afternoon?
Hey, not too bad, Just, glad to be out of that prison I've been unjustly kept in,
Well, will you tell us about yourself a little bit?
And I'm not really here to sell the autobiography of my life, but I've lived out here for going on 15 years. Prior to these accusations, I had a clean arrest record.
In this state.
I met at the people, philanthropists that donated almost
What's up,
a quarter
tacos?
of my
Thank you.
company's profits to taking care of sick kids, orphans, foster children.
Hell yeah, man.
Abuse victims, victims of bullying, etc., etc. Not to mention, my company donated about.
I need to sit on it.
$1,500
I wanted to
worth
sit
of
in on this
food
trial.
when the,
I got to spend some time with a girlfriend
terrorist
after, and
attack
then
happened, and
we'll do some Ready or Not.
everybody was on high alert. So, I mean, I think my record and my actions in the past have spoken for themselves over here.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with that, Mr. Freyelli. So it's your statement under oath right now that you have never been arrested before?
I take that back. I said I had a impeccable record. I mean, I did get
Okay.
picked up one time. I was transporting one of our resupply beverage trucks, and it was running out of gas as I was getting pulled over. So I, pulled it directly across the street, and some, green around the gills deputy panicked and thought I was trying to flee, even though, the thing shut off and I got out and was just chilling. But, you know how it goes with those greenhorns, Your Honor.
So, you did mention, though, verbatim, that you had a clean record and that your record speaks for itself. However, you did get arrested for, do you mind saying the charge again for me?
I don't even remember what it was. He said I disobeyed, him telling me to
I believe that's called
not
failure
get
to
in the
yield.
truck or something. It was so long ago, I don't even remember. But like I
Oh.
said, I mean, if
You don't
look at
remember
the,
pleading guilty to fleeing and evading a police officer?
Fleeing and evading across the street 10 feet, I don't know if that even counts, especially when you're in a goddamn box truck over here. You know what I'm saying? You know, think about it.
Okay. Well, so you self-proclaim yourself as a man of the people. I've seen that slogan quite a bit. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that? Does it just kind of go back to your philanthropist nature or your business? What kind of brought that about?
Hey, you know, sometimes in life you're given nicknames and you're given affection by those around you. Like I said, I've donated to the Red Cross over there. We've given food to the local homeless shelters. We've helped orphaned kids and foster kids find permanent homes. We took the little St. Jude Make a Wish kids up there in a helicopter ride that they wanted to go on. I mean, whatever needs done over here. The first people in line is the
Okay.
Barrington International Group of Distributors, Investors, Collections, Knowledge, and Sales. We always over here all the time.
Okay,
Forget about it.
absolutely. You would say people love you.
You know what? If they do or they don't, that's on them. But
But I'm asking if you would say that.
I got no idea. I don't know what's in anybody else's heart over here.
Well, are you aware that you had people committing extremist acts in your name?
Negative. We saw that video, and the first thing we did as a corporation was denounce that. Say we
Just
want
the
nothing to
question
do
was,
with that.
was you aware of it? That's all. Just was you aware that this was going on?
I saw after the fact that it had occurred. I was not aware that
Okay.
it was going on. I
Of
don't know
course,
what
of course.
that means.
I didn't mean it like that. I just, make sure you're aware that these people are doing this. I mean, so you said you saw it on Weasel News. You watch that pretty regularly.
Yeah, we saw it. Where we were at a business meeting. We saw, the announcement of that come on, and the first thing I said was, "Yo, we got to, make sure the public knows, we don't tolerate, support, encourage anything. We denounce in the extremist of, fashions this kind of behavior because that's not what we're about."
So you're in a business meeting. But weren't you incarcerated after this event? And was incarcerated during the time of this bombing?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Oh, you're talking about the when the guy attacked? Yeah.
Okay. I'm talking about when the Weasel News ad aired. Okay. And
Oh yeah. I had a phone call with the attorney and director of finance, and we were talking. That's
okay.
what I meant. Not a business meeting per se, but
Mhm.
a phone call as
Yeah.
awarded to you one time a week in federal prison or whatever you call it nowadays.
Okay. Um, do you believe that you are, or can be described as angry, aggressive, or impulsive?
Not at all.
Yeah.
I've been pulled over for speeding, uh, rolling through a stop sign, whatever, 1,000 times. I've got half the police force has pulled me over, and it's been one of the most pleasant experiences of their life. I don't run, I don't flee. I got no time for that bullshit. Excuse me, Your Honor, my apologies. It's a habit over here. Uh, every time I'm lit up, I pull over, I stop. If I gotta pay the fine, I pay the fine. I don't ride dirty, so I got nothing to worry about in that aspect. So I mean, how unbecoming of a person is it to risk it all after 15 years living in a place to run from some random traffic stop? That's what I ask you, jury. Consider that over here.
Yeah. So the swear word wasn't impulsive at all.
Yeah, I mean, where I come from, we use colorful language to help express our feelings over
I
here.
understand. So let's go on to the car. Um, so this was your car, without a shadow of doubt. You said, well, like on the objection, you do not contest that this was your vehicle whatsoever.
Yeah, I've never contested that fact. I mean, I got several vehicles. I got several company vehicles. I got a part of a large corporation. I got a few guys who drive me around because, if somebody else is willing to drive, I don't mind at all. So I got people who drive my vehicles. We got two pilots, who fly our aircraft. I mean, what do you need? I gotta see, my granny's gotta see an eye dog. You need to know about that too, over here.
Just establishing a foundation, Mr. Freyelli. Um, So it's basically just what you're saying is standard procedure for people to drive your vehicles that belong to your company and have those permissions.
I mean, it's not not every single employee who walks through the door who's hired to bust tables. Obviously, not everybody's permitted to drive company or my vehicles, but I have several employees who I know and I trust, and hey, we got to go drop off an order at the liquor race. Take my car, or hey, I'll be
So
flying
it's a
in
finite
later, pick
list.
me up. Something like that. I don't know. If you ask me to name every single person who ever hopped in one of my vehicles, I mean, forget about it. How am I gonna remember that?
Okay. So it's your testimony that it is a restrictive group, but you don't know how restrictive it is.
No, that's what I'm saying is if you were asked to give a list of every single person who ever set foot in your car or or came in your apartment, I mean, could be 50 people, could be 200 people, just depends on the group of friends, family, whatever you got.
Well, what about recently? Could you name that recently?
I got no idea.
Mm, that's very convenient.
Why is it convenient? It's my
It's
car. I mean,
Excuse me, I'm
I'm
asking.
asking the
Move.
I'm about to get this
Um,
shit.
what was that, Mr. Freyelli?
Oh, I need some water up here. Got a tickle in the throat over here.
Okay. Um, so the car that we're talking about here is not a company vehicle, though. It is your personal vehicle, correct?
Yeah, well, it's a little like I said. We have
Oh, yeah,
company. Typically, the company vehicles are more commercial type. The trucks, the aircraft, or whatever. But
I
like I
think
said, I
this
have
this
people.
court thing is
Anytime I gotta
drawing
go
quite a few
somewhere,
people.
if there's somebody else in the car and they don't mind driving, I let them drive me. So I got people driving. You know, the
Hmm.
BMW, the Rolls, whatever.
But you're
It
in the car
happens.
with them in these scenarios.
Sometimes, sometimes if we're working and I got the only vehicle there, or whatever, and somebody needs to do something, they borrow the car. It's all right.
So, just to reiterate one more time, um, even recently, you do not know. Let's say past 3 weeks, you don't know how many people have driven your car or who did, who didn't.
Well, the past 3 weeks, I guess nobody, because it's been in goddamn impound, and I've been in a
Let's say
cage at the vet over here.
let's say a week plus or minus the event, the
Yeah, I
time of
mean,
the
I
event.
had I had a few different people. One of my guys picked me up from San Denis International the other week, drove me up to Valentine. Uh, I let people take it to gas it up and get it cleaned all the time too. I mean,
Um,
that's like a weekly occurrence.
so would you allow the kind of behavior that's being exhibited from Trooper Waldo's testimony to be done in your vehicles?
No, I would have to say absolutely not. As my record shows, with 15 years of living here in the state and never having any incidents. I,
So, if you don't know who was driving your car, but you know that it was running around town, because by your admission here that you know who drives it,
Where the
right?
keys
You
are
have
to
a
the car,
finite
where
list
they
of people
stored,
you
that big the
trust. They
question.
don't just come get it. You've got the key to it. Um, why wasn't it reported stolen if it was driving around all night? It still to this day has not been reported stolen.
yeah, well, obviously I got picked up in Cayo Perico, and so the last thing I'm thinking about is where is my car? I'm assuming it's the last place I left it.
Okay.
Secondly, I mean, it doesn't matter, like I said, I know I wasn't in it because I was at home packing a suitcase. Then I had to run up to the vineyard. I was picked up, as the defense evidence, the O5 shows. I was picked up by an employee of mine at the vineyard, driven to Yellow Jack. We grabbed a drink, and then we went over to the airport with two of our other employees and flew on a publicly purchased commercial airline flight to Cayo that was scheduled to return the next day. So I mean, I don't understand what we're doing over here.
Okay. Um. So It's pretty obvious knowledge your car has been locked up for a little while. It's been towed. You said you wonder where it's at. It's standard procedure for county tow to contact the person immediately when the car is towed, correct?
Yeah, but and that happens how? By mail? 7 to 10 business days, up
Usually
to
by phone,
30.
and you're very
Why?
easily manned to
Wait, why
access.
would they have? Why I don't understand why county tow. I mean, the DMV doesn't have my phone number. Why the hell would county tow have it over here? Kind of NSA bullshit y'all running over here.
Language, Mr. Freyelli.
My apologies, John. I'm just, I'm a little feeling a little insulted over here.
So is your sworn statement that you did not have to give any contact information to the DMV to retain a vehicle registration?
I mean, sure, whatever forms they have over there to fill out, I fill out. I mean, but I can testify in my 52 years of existence that I've never once received a call from the Department of Motor Vehicles over here. So
Right.
assuming that they would have the phone number is I don't know, seems like a bit of a stretch over here.
Of course, maybe there just hasn't been an event like this to happen. Um, so let's go on to your testimony here. The CCTV footage. It says that, of course, it's Exhibit 1A for all those in the jury. It says actual CCTV still of vehicle at the time of stop. Why wasn't the full the full video produced for the jury?
I mean, you'll have, from my understanding, all that the clerk of the store, was willing to agree to release. Now, I can't speak for what he does or what happens on his property over there, but I told him I needed a shot of the pulled over vehicle, and he let me print off a screenshot of the CCTV over there. I don't know. I don't own the property. It's not up to me. I told him what I hoped for, and I got what I got over here.
So there's no warrant obtained for this image. You just happen to get a cherry pick photo of you sitting side by side there, right beside the store in a perfect angle to try to prove your point.
I don't know what that backhanded question's supposed to mean over here, but yeah, the guy gets liquor deliveries for us. After all, there's a food and beverage mart that serves alcohol, and I said, hey, we had somebody get stopped over here. They're making accusations. If we could just see the footage, and I don't know. Guy's running like a VCR setup over there, so he doesn't have the ability to export USB drive files or whatever. So
But he could just pop it out, correct?
I don't know. It's not my machine. I'm not
Be
a
easier
AV
just to give the whole
specialist.
thing rather than take a screenshot of a VCR, as you
Who
say.
knows? I don't know. I'm not a AV technician over here. I'm
Okay.
never claimed to be, Your Honor.
So the next photos that are submitted here were recreations, stage photograph, things like that. Recreation, the word you use. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. We had
Okay.
the extremely similar vehicle parked closer to a source of light in a
Yep.
brighter environment at an earlier time of day, and you still could not positively ID whoever was inside over there.
Okay. And so, if just for the jury here, I'm on slide 6 now. I'd like you to please refer to that slide at this time.
I'm going to pause real quick for the members of the appeal board. The piece of evidence they're referring to is the last link in the appeal board channel. It's defense's evidence. I believe this is defense D03 or 2. Proceed.
Okay, Your Honor. Is everyone viewing the document? Would you mind making sure that it's up on everyone's screen on the docket?
How about just one? Mr. Gene Gurr, are you viewing the document currently? If you can hear me, you can type your answer in general chat. Mr. Dewey, it is labeled defense's evidence. It's the presentation. He is viewing.
Okay.
Okay. Fern, are you viewing? And while we're waiting, what slide number were you on again, Mr. Powell?
6, please.
Please. Slide 6, okay.
The previous one was 4.
Dewey is watching it. Fern, if you can hear me, type your answer in appeal board at the appeal board channel. Are you on this presentation currently? Slide 6. Okay, Fern is watching. Mr. Game Nerd, please reply in appeal board. Are you looking at this as well?
I see 7 total viewers, Your Honor.
Okay, if you can see the amount of people that are looking at it, then that's good. You can proceed. Slide 6 for anyone who didn't hear it.
Okay. So, Mr. Freyelli, this is the recreations you said that kind of help substantiate that he could not see you. Is that what these are to the effect of?
Oh, I never said me. I said that. I mean, first of all, he couldn't have possibly seen me because I wasn't in the car. But
I understand.
that he could not have seen the driver.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. Could not have seen the driver of the vehicle. So when he approached, are you aware of the equipment that state troopers carry?
No, I don't work for the state trooper's office.
No problem. So usually state troopers carry a pretty powerful flashlights used to illuminate very, very wide ranges of areas. Sometimes it's used as a blinding technique in tactical operations or in some kind of diffusing a situation. They're about 1,000 lumens on average. I'm sure the new Hanover State Patrol's flashlights are to that effect, if not brighter. They're very good at piercing tint. So when he approached from the driver's side and looked in, can you say that he couldn't see you through the tint when the flashlight's designed to do that?
Sir, he approached from the passenger side rear of the vehicle on
Okay.
the video footage or photograph, whatever, and by his own testimony. So I'm not sure how the driver's side window comes into play.
But how about the flashlight? It's still the same, right? You can go right through the back window and see the back of your head, see your face turn.
No, why would I mean? Who knows? I mean, if I get pulled over, I look in the rear view and look out my side view. I mean, who's turning around? What kind of clown turns around?
Okay.
Secondly, if he has body cam or dash cam footage that indicate that, I'd love to see it. The fence would be happy to accept that after
Well,
the
I'll
fact.
tell you what I'd love to see. I'd like to see you explain to me how you got a still shot of a VCR camera from CCTV from a friend, but yet nowhere in any report did it ever say which side of the vehicle the trooper approached from. How are you so adamantly sure he approached from the passenger side? And secondly, if you did have that from CCTV footage, why was that not presented to the court? Because it would help substantiate your claim as to show where the trooper was standing and that he could not see the vehicle.
Again, he needs to prove that he walked up to the driver's side or wherever. It's not on me to prove that. Secondly, I said I saw the CCTV footage, but the store owner would only let me get a single screenshot, and I just wanted to take one that showed how dark the tint was, and the fact that it was at night, and the fact that there's no body cam or dash cam footage, on top of that. There was no way. This guy's over here. He's throwing around names. He wants to make a big case. He wants to be some guy. He's been with the
Objection, Your
department,
Honor.
3 months?
Argumentative.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's enough.
Oh, what's this guy's assaulting me over here?
Objection
Come
asked
on.
and answered. So, um, there's no report of anywhere, and you've submitted this evidence in discovery. So before the testimony of Trooper Waldo, but you knew exactly which side he came from a mysterious CCTV footage. And let me just direct you guys to slides 4, 5, and 6. They all look very similar. And it's because I believe they're all recreated in the same way. Would you say to that, Mr. Freyelli?
Well,
What
with
the
the
hell is going on outside?
photo of the vehicle in the brightly lit scenario was actually staged down at the motel off Joshua and whatever road that is, 68 down there.
Mhm.
As you can clearly see the motel in the background.
Okay.
That's good.
So I mean,
But-
that's what I would say.
Mhm.
But that doesn't deter from the
Mhm.
fact that they could all be recreations, does it?
Of course it does. What do you mean?
Because they were in different locations, they couldn't have been recreated. Is that your statement?
What is? I don't even understand what that means. Of course, if it's photographed at a different location and not at the time of the incident, of course it's a recreation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me restate.
Did you start?
Have submitted one of these evidence pieces to the actual CCTV still shot of the crime. But yet the other two are what you consider recreations or a staged photograph.
Well, I mean, clearly the ones at the hotel in Sandy and the other ones on Joshua, right in front of Sandy PD over there. I mean,
So you
I
couldn't
don't.
go
I
back
think
to the scene of the crime and stage another photograph?
What's
That's
the point?
impossible.
It was even darker over there than it was anywhere else. The defense wanted to show that even in better lighting conditions at an earlier time of day, closer to a light source, you still can't see who's driving that thing. So how could a trooper who possibly, kind of somewhat look like, might be a guy with gray hair, positively ID somebody over here? Come on, get out of here. What are
Well,
you
I'd love to answer that for you. If everybody would turn their attention back to slide 6, I completely agree. If you look in the second photo, the first photo shows that he adamantly knows that the trooper approached from the passenger side, which is again a mystery. And number two, if you look at the very front of the vehicle, the BMW that's in the stage photograph, you can see right through that windshield, and the trooper is behind him, illuminating the back of the car, not in front. So if a light source was in the front, you could clearly see the driver of the vehicle. Do you not agree with this, Mr. Freyelli?
Well, the photograph.
Because I can see it from here, and I'm farther away than the
The
trooper
pho-
would have been, and
the
on the
pho-
opposite side of the vehicle.
Well, of course, if you're in front of the vehicle and he's behind it, of course you're going to see it better from that way. But secondly, that's a recreation. The tint on that vehicle isn't half as dark, and you still can't see from the trooper's perspective. And secondly, isn't law enforcement just trained naturally to not walk on the driver's side because it's typically in traffic?
They have discretion to approach on either side.
Well,
However,
you know,
However, I will
there
say
you go.
this, Mr. Philly. I really do appreciate you admitting that, yeah, you could see from the front because that's exactly what the trooper said. When he passed you, he would be on the driver's side. His vehicle, he'd be in the left
Yeah, but he's
seat.
not on foot over here.
I'm not done.
He's passing at 90
I'm
miles an hour, he said,
Your Honor.
with high beams.
Mr.
aimed at the
Freyelli, let Mr. Powell finish.
Why are you acting like so
Thank you.
suspicious right now? I mean,
Mr. Frielli,
Go in the courtroom or leave.
he was on the left seat, which is the driver's seat, driving closer to the center line, seeing you through the front windshield with headlights illuminating your front windshield. He had already clocked you, and he would be paying attention to the vehicle and the driver due to the radar screaming in his ear. Do you dispute any of this?
Who knows? You know, it would be. I would agree with all of it 100% had he had his dash cam or body cam on. But you know, the fact that this guy's operating under the radar over here, I think, speaks volume about his intentions and possibly his character.
Okay, so just to reiterate, it's his character that's now under question when earlier you said he's not a technician, he couldn't possibly be held against him, correct?
Well, it's all no, that's not what I said. It's also his. I mean, you know, if your equipment's faulty, I mean, if it was me, I'd turn around and say, hey, either give me another set of stuff, or I'm taking the night off. But you know, I mean, some people just love not having the video footage over there, as clearly, you know, no photographs or video footage was submitted by the prosecution over here.
The last thing I'd like to
Because the
say, and
evidence
that's
isn't there.
objection argumentative, strike everything after I agree.
He missed it.
What exactly are you objecting to? The last part of his answer?
Yes, Your Honor, he's constantly arguing with the prosecution, questioning the integrity of the officer with no basis or claim.
That's overruled. Or I'm sorry, that's sustained. Appeal board will disregard that last remark.
The last thing I'm going to say about the vehicle, Mr. Freyelli, is that you had absolutely no knowledge that someone was driving your vehicle at this time, correct?
Again, I don't know. I was busy. I had an important business trip to attend to down in Cayo. We have several distilleries and agave farms down there. We import, you know, whiskey, liquor, tequila, rum, etc. for the food and beverage management group that we're part of. And secondly, yeah, I don't know. I was preparing for a fight. I was packing a suitcase over here. People drive, you know, my vehicles.
Man, aren't you guys like 4 officers, man?
It
You guys
happens.
could fucking
I don't ask them
look
to,
at us.
you know, send me a text or tag me on Snapchat or whatever you do over here these days.
Did you search him?
Okay.
Stop him.
The
Hey,
What
come
are
back here,
you
bud.
next thing I'd like to talk to is.
Am I not allowed up here?
No.
Oh, my bad.
Excuse me.
Sorry then.
told you to wait so you could be searched. Did I not?
Yeah.
You not understand how to follow the law?
No.
You want to go
Hey,
to
am
fucking
I
jail?
allowed to walk in here?
No.
Sir.
That's
No,
what
the
I
Excuse
only
me.
courtroom you're currently allowed
Okay.
in is the one right here.
Alright, man.
The next thing I'd like to talk about is how it's found
Out the
abandoned.
way.
Yep, he's
He
been
was
searched.
The car was found abandoned at the Yellow Jack, correct?
Alright, man, I'm patting you down. You got anything on you?
I mean,
Based on
according
the
to
testimony
what,
you were made aware
yeah,
of.
according to whatever document that they circulated, yeah. But I mean, isn't any parked car technically abandoned? I mean, what makes
No,
it
it
abandoned?
is
That it's parked at the Yellow Jack at an active business establishment, or what? I don't understand.
So now it's your testimony that you knew it would be there and the car was not abandoned.
That's not what I said. I'm just saying, if you park your car at Walmart and you take a vacation for a week, is the car abandoned? No. You know, you're coming.
Oh, it's
You're
illegally
out of town.
parked.
Whatever.
Absolutely, and I'd love to amend the testimony or any charge to say that it was abandoned if you would, just like you did, say, well, maybe you parked it there and went on vacation to KO.
Where were the keys at?
My last known location of that vehicle was at the Yellow Jack. I mean, it's pointless. Like the whole thing's like, hey, we found the car over here. Yeah, you know, it was there before, you know, I even went back up to pack my bags and go home. I mean, what are we doing?
Okay. Right next to the Yellow Jack is the airport that you left from, correct?
Yeah, you're correct. Valentine Airport. We bought 4 commercial tickets on a public, you know, Delta sister airline there, and had round trip to fly back the next day.
Okay, wonderful. Let's go back to the car for one more minute here. Before we get into the plane. So the car was left at the Yellow Jack, was left abandoned. Because you don't know who was in it, just somebody that you approved but didn't approve, drove it, did a bunch of terrible things in it, brought it right back to where you left it exactly, and then left the car. But however, when we towed the vehicle, it was in the chain of custody of County Tow, and there has been a submitted DNA test on the vehicle, and your prints alone were found in the driver's seat, on the door, on the radio, and on the steering wheel.
Mr. Freyelli.
He's muted, Your Honor.
Oh.
Yeah. I've never once, said it wasn't a vehicle that belongs to me and that I do occasionally drive. I mean, if we swab everybody in the courtroom, we're gonna find their DNA at their house too. Are they all guilty of? You're all guilty of something because you exist over there.
Well, if you recklessly drove the house around the town, yeah, you would be guilty.
Yeah, it
but
has
see,
nothing to do. Your Honor, I mean, can I object as a witness? Because this is
yeah, you can object.
You absolutely can.
Yeah, I mean, you're twisting facts. I mean, if can I give an example, Your Honor?
Objection, Your Honor. He is a witness.
Yeah, of course. There we go.
What exactly are you trying to
Okay, Your Honor.
establish here, Mr. Freyelli?
Okay. So using an obvious fact but twisting it for your own intention is what I believe to be happening. Most of the most intelligent minds would agree that due to the sheer size of the universe, right, there's life out there. So does that
Your Honor, objection relevant.
No. Hey, stand down. Does that automatically mean
Honor,
that every government in the world is hiding it? No, maybe nobody knows about
Your
it.
Honor.
Okay?
Mr. Freyelli, the
Go on.
question that was put to you was your fingerprints found in the vehicle with the specific spots that they found?
Of course it is. It's my car. I drive it occasionally, a few times a week.
Okay, Mr. Powell, you may move on.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Jesus.
Let's see. So on to the airport. Valentine Airport is a very small airport. I mean, it's dusty. It's got a couple hangars and a tower. It's right by an old mechanic shop. So why would there be a lot of commercial flights flying through there? I mean, I don't see any terminals, no TSA, just a bunch of hangars with private planes, is it not?
Well, sir, I'm not an air traffic controller or airport personnel, and my knowledge, I'm not sure if you are either.
Your Honor,
so that
objection.
might-
I never stated these claims.
Yeah, well, so why are you asking me over here?
Your Honor, there's objection levied.
The objection from the prosecution is overruled because Mr. Freyelli does have a point. You are asking him questions he would have no knowledge of. Move on.
Anyway, to follow that up,
Mr. Freyelli, hold on. He has wait for him to ask his
Your
next.
Honor, it's him boarding the plane. He would have to have knowledge on going through TSA, seeing a terminal, seeing other people frequenting the location, being familiar with the surrounding of an airport that he took off from. How is that something he would have no knowledge of?
Your question was why would a commercial aircraft be flown out of a certain airport? He doesn't work there. Just because he frequents it doesn't mean that he would have firsthand knowledge of why a certain flight comes out of a certain airport.
Okay, well let me rephrase.
What the hell just happened?
You said that
AI.
you flew from a commercial air
Walker,
flight
do clear
out
area.
of Valentine when there is no
yeah, I'm
infrastructure
going
to
to.
support commercial air flights at said airport. Is this correct, Ms. Freyelli?
again, I don't work for the airline industry, so I don't know if they're suited for commercial travel or not. But
What the fuck?
we boarded a little red Luxor Deluxe over there, and like we have 1,000 other times. I mean, whether or not they're suited to handle it, that's a question for the FAA. Also, if you have records that dispute this, we'd love to see them. But again,
I'll tell you what I'd like to see, Mr. Freyelli. I'd like to see why you didn't submit to the court any evidence of these logs, any evidence of any tickets purchased, any return date for your trip. Why is it nothing regarding this flight has been submitted on your side as evidence?
Because I'm a busy man and I'm not gonna do your job for you. You can subpoena the airport, you can subpoena the tickets. The prosecution chose not to do that, so that's on them over there. Come on, take it easy.
Wouldn't you say it'd be pretty difficult to subpoena something that doesn't exist, Mr. Freyelli?
Again, I have no idea. I mean, nobody asked.
You say there are several vehicles, and you mentioned back in the opening statement about the first line of questioning that you had people have all kind of vehicles, yachts,
aircraft, things like that. Is this correct, Mr. Freyelli? Do you recall giving the testimony?
Yeah, of course. We own an international commercial a group of distributors, investors, collections, knowledge, and sales. We do travel, we do airline, etc., etc.
Absolutely. And so, your recount of the events is you went to Valentine Airport, which I can tell you is a predominantly private airstrip with hangars holding private planes, and you didn't get on one of your private company planes to go on your business trip. Why is that? You're
Grasping
muted
at
again, sir.
straws here, aren't we?
Oh, Your Honor, I feel like I'm being badgered over here as this was submitted evidence because the cost of 4 tickets versus renting a private jet, fueling it, paying for the pilot, etc., it was much cheaper. I mean, you're looking at $300, $1,200 worth of tickets versus $8,000 round trip flight to fly private over here. Why? I mean,
Okay.
we like to make our
Then why have the
stockholders money.
planes, Mr. Fraley? You said multiple planes, not just one.
Yeah, well, because we have a plane that does cargo deliveries of the
Giving out free hugs over
agave
there.
and the
Mhm.
liquor. I mean, we rent out the private jets. We got
So why would not just tag on one of those?
because we still have to pay for it. Because we're not a company that steals and embezzles. I guess that's my point. We don't steal from the shareholders so the CEOs can fly around in first class. We'll take coach. We're not above it. We're hardworking men and women over here.
Okay, so your understanding of embezzlement is using your company assets to achieve company goals.
No, my understanding is when you steal from stockholders, so you can, fly first class downtown the court, and
And so it's your
assault,
testimony today
assault the
that you have
businessman.
never flown on those jets, as it would be stealing from the shareholders.
I never said that. What was? I said
I'm
that.
just asking.
I said that when we could fly for 1/5 of the price for a business-related expense, we do that instead of spending 5 times as much and just saying, forget about the
Damn right.
stockholders. They can eat it up.
It is.
Shut up.
Okay.
I'm whispering. Sorry.
So, again, going back to you have employees with the plane, so it's unreasonable to think that an employee took you from a plane in the airport to KO, is what you're submitting to the court.
No, I said one of the guys who works for me, who anytime he's around, I have him drive me because he's just a safe driver, which was the witness evidence submitted. Picked me up at the vineyard, threw my suitcase in the trunk. He drove me down to the Yellow Jack. We got one drink, and then we left and went to the airport, and got ready to take off there.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd like to back up just a little bit. Could you please publish the NHSP forensics file to the jury, please?
What was that labeled as?
Let's see. Oops. It'd be 05, Your Honor.
05. Ladies and gentlemen, the appeal board, please direct your attention to the appeal board channel for the piece of evidence that Mr. Powell is referring to.
This evidence is just to substantiate the forensic evidence levied against the defendant.
All right, Mr. Powell, you may proceed.
Okay, I just want to recap a little bit on this plan, and then we'll move on one last time. So, just to recount, you went to an airport in which you do have planes stored because you have company planes. But you didn't take them because that would be stealing from the shareholders, which, that's your view. And you have got tickets that has not been produced to the court on a chartered flight to exactly where your business is in KO from that airport that has no TSA, um, no terminals, no anything like that, to travel to your business.
Hey, don't trip.
Because you didn't want to steal from the shareholders or anything like that. Um, is this correct? Is this your testimony to the court?
I mean, I'm not sure exactly what you're getting at or how you're trying to spin that, but
I'm just recalling your testimony,
again,
sir.
it's not my company or my personal obligation to enforce any kind of federal aviation regulations upon the airports of the state of New Hanover.
Nor am I asking you.
We bought tickets on a regular airline flight because the cost of that was much cheaper than taking the personal jet to Cayo and back, which, and in the end, results in costing more money, taking less away, take more away from the financial profits of the company. So we're over here trying to make money. We're not trying to spend excessive and extravagantly over there.
Okay. And so I want to direct you guys back to the opening testimony when I was giving my initial line of questioning. He did mention that he is very familiar with Weasel News. He watches it all the time. Your face was plastered on Weasel News quite a bit. There were several news stories, several ads. So if you already have testified that you were very active in watching Weasel News, how did you not know you had an arrest warrant? You're muted again, Mr. Freyelli.
Objection, Your Honor. I'm not sure I ever said I watched
Help you, sir.
Weasel News.
Is the court?
I
Is
said
the
I
court
was
still open?
aware of
The balcony is not
I
open
did
to
see the
civilians, law
terrorist,
enforcement only.
Yeah, the court is still open.
and the
Court is still going,
subsequent,
and you can go through that door there after you've been searched.
disclaimer
Through these doors, I'm
from
gonna have
the
to search
company
you.
that we were not at all associated. We condemned and did not condone the actions of that lunatic.
Your Honor, refer to the transcript. After that, I did say you do keep up with Weasel News. This is a verbatim quote. You do keep up with Weasel News because you are a very prominent businessman and you stay in touch with the city. Is this correct?
He's got a gun.
Your Honor, I may have I just heard news. I didn't.
You're good to
You
go.
keep up with the news. I mean, there's several news sources. Was Weasel, etc., etc.
And was it not plastered on all news outlets? Because
Again,
from
I
my
have no
recollection,
idea.
it
I
wasn't.
don't work in the programming department of mainstream media corporations over here. I mean, Your Honor, again, I mean, it's, getting drug all around here every which way. Stuff that makes no sense over here. Come on.
Is there an objection there?
Mr. Freyelli, are you objecting to anything or just stating something?
Yeah, I'm objecting to indirect and irrelevant questioning. Again, just as an attempted smear campaign on my business and my reputation in the community over here.
Your Honor,
Come
on.
Mr. Freyelli, you did testify earlier that whether you meant to or not, you did say that you watched Weasel News very frequently. Whether you meant to or not, I can't say, but you did speak those words.
Okay, well, that's also a channel that runs 24/7. I mean, I'm expected to know what
Absolutely.
happens 365 days a year.
when something this big happens, Mr. Fraley, it was posted on there for quite some time, and it was everywhere. There was billboards, there was flyers, there was news outlets, and you're telling me since you just said the channel runs 24/7, you never saw it once?
Wait a minute. What are we? The terrorist thing happened while I was incarcerated. There was never a story about me that I saw about myself being wanted because I would have called the Rosenberg and had them call downtown and figured out what the hell's going on. Well, I mean,
So it's your testimony today that there was not a news story that was done about your warrant for arrest.
it's my testimony. I never saw anything like that, or my other attorney never got in touch with me because I would have turned myself in or at least came down for questioning over here. I don't
But you
run from-
watch Weasel News all the
I
time,
don't.
but you
I don't
never
run
saw.
from nobody. Yeah, I watch it all the time, but again, I'm not up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You know, they might slip a story or two in on you over there.
I'm not sitting there.
Okay.
Going to the court.
So the last thing I'd like to reiterate is the impulsions.
No, it's fine. You can sit back down.
You do suffer from impulsive behavior, do you not, Mr. Freyelli?
Is that one?
If you have a board-certified
Very nice to see you
psychology report on that matter, I'd love to see it. If not, I'm going to have to object, Your Honor, to speculation and accusation.
Your Honor, this is a self-proclaimed question. I'm asking him
Yeah,
if
they let
he
you go. They let you go.
believes he suffers from impulsions. He would have the knowledge.
You don't know.
Your Honor, I'm also not
They didn't let
any
you go.
kind
They
of
didn't let you go yet.
medically trained or certified person, so how the
How
hell?
the hell do I?
But you know,
Mr. Powell, rephrase the question to an opinion to an opinionated question.
Okay, Mr. Freyelli, I'll ask in a different way. Do you feel that you suffer from impulsive behavior?
In your opinion.
No,
Gotta
I
use
do
the
not.
words
I'm
in your
a
opinion.
successful businessman, loving family man.
Mm-hmm.
Up until these false accusations. I had a fairly uneventful life in the judicial system. So
Yeah,
no,
Wonka,
I
make sure you
would
don't have
not
any
say.
cigarettes on you. They will arrest you.
Okay.
I found out the hard way.
So you haven't been
Yeah, they pushed
impulsively
me out of the building.
blurting out during this trial, swearing, constantly talking over the judge, not stopping
I think
when the
you might
judge is
lose.
asking you to yield. That hasn't been going on, Mr. Freyelli? You muted again, sir.
Oh, objection, Your Honor. This is again speculation and inference. I am not classically trained in the law, the court of law. So excuse me.
Oh,
If,
objection, Your Honor. He waived his right to say that argument when he chose to represent himself. I have the signed confession here.
Objection. Hold on. First of all, he signed a form saying that he cannot declare a mistrial based on misrepresentation.
Correct.
And second of all, that's not what he's asking for. He's not asking for a mistrial. Mr. Freyelli, the question before you right now is it's answerable right now.
No, I growing up where I grew up, swear words, crude mouth, whatever. It's just a way of life. It's not has nothing to do with lashing out. I haven't lashed out once, believe me. I think we'd all be aware over here.
Okay. So you may not be classically trained in the law, but you know how to identify aggressive behavior, correct?
I'm not trained.
Generally.
I have no.
Generally.
I mean, if somebody, yeah, sure. If somebody's walking up with a weapon, fast paced, meaning to do me harm, yeah, I would. That's about it. But I'm not. I'm no animal whisperer over here. I'm not psychic. I'm not an empath. If you believe in that kind of craziness, forget about it.
Okay. Your Honor, I just sent to the stand a snippet from testimony and pretrial motions. This is already admitted into evidence as it is testimony from sworn testimony from the defendant. Would you please publish that to the jury at this time?
Sidebar for the defense and the prosecution. Please come to chamber.
What's up?
I have no idea.
Your tobacco?
Do you see that in general?
Yeah, I don't even see chambers, so I can't do it. Burn.
Who do you want me to look for? I see him coming in
Yup.
and out. He's coming in and out of the thing right now, but I think he's trying to log back in.
No, I'm talking about Discord. General chat, the judge is trying to get Powell talk terms for the judge's chambers VC. I don't see that. Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
do
know
that
what's
now.
happening, everybody. We have some technical difficulties with Discord. Just please be patient. Thank you guys for all the tending.
So is that the end?
Yeah, I can't.
Oh.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, hold on.
Fern, if you don't mind, just
Yeah,
stepping out.
yeah, I am. Thursday.
They're in chambers. They'll be back in a second.
Is there like an intermission going on or something, dude? Cause I don't even know.
It's a dog.
It is a dog.
Just so everybody knows, when you leave, you're gonna come back and you're gonna get searched again. So be very aware of that.
I think I'm just gonna wait outside. So
My butt's starting to hurt.
good on the radio if I have
Same.
to.
Hey, Beans, are you here?
Hey, what's up?
Just make sure we search every one of them when they come back in.
Alright.
What's
I
up?
might have to go 10-6 shit off. I'm so fucking hungry.
All right.
What the hell?
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the appeal board, please direct your attention to the appeal board channel. This was a statement made in the pretrial motion and discovery phase of this proceeding. Mr. Powell, you may move on if you have anything else.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury and the audience that can see this piece of evidence, this is further proving the aggressive behavior by Mr. Freyelli, even against me, and I've known him for such a short time. Mr. Freyelli, is this something you did right? You're muted, by the way.
I mean, again, I blame my unfamiliarity with how these things work over here. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously, as obviously I'm not aware of any recent trials of this nature.
But you did stare at me while you say it with a very serious face, and one can say that that's not really a joking way to deliver that line, is it?
I mean, in my line of work, we like to joke around a little bit, give each other a dime. It's all in good fun. It was probably just a little bit of being overwhelmed by the sheer amounts of paperwork and everything else that came with this thing over here.
Okay. All right, Your Honor. Due to the nature of the witness, I don't believe he can cross-examine himself. It's syntax error there, and I can't redirect, so I think we should motion to close. If there are no more witnesses.
If the Prosecution and the defense have no further witnesses. Members of the appeal board, it is now time for you to ask any questions you may have. Again, these questions are to be directed towards Mr. Powell or Mr. Freyelli. We will go with one member at a time. And Mr. Don't know your actual name, but Mr. Gene Gurr, do you have any
My
questions?
Pop-Tart.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be searched before you come in again.
Your Honor, only the appeal board can ask questions this time, correct?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Alright, go ahead.
Hello, Your Honor. I just
Oh
have
my
one
God.
main question I'd like to ask.
Oh my God.
Please state who it's directed toward.
It would be to the trooper who had originally made the stop.
The line of questioning for the appeal board is to be directed only towards the DA or the defense counsel. You can ask your question to the DA, and he can answer to the best of his knowledge.
All right. All right. So my question to the DA is, other than the fingerprinting and the DNA swab you did on the vehicle after the chase, the trooper had stated that he did not 100% identify the subject, right?
Well, that's correct. However, he did say that his ID.
That's all my question is
Objection.
whether he ID'd
Hey,
him.
hold on, everyone, hold on a second, Mr. Freyelli. These questions cannot be objected to.
Your Honor, I don't feel like the question was answered in entirety.
Yeah, my question was whether or not he was able to 100% identify the suspect on the during the traffic stop.
To the NHSP letter of our policy, he was not. No ID or address or phone.
You hear
All right, yeah, that's my only question.
Very Mr. Fern, you are up next. Is Fern in? There he is. Okay, proceed.
I basically had the same question. I just wanted to see if the trooper had him roll down his window to identify him, but he already answered the question.
Very well.
The suspect sped off upon the approach.
Understood.
Very well. Game Nerd, you are next.
Yes, sir. My question is aimed towards Mr. Bentillo.
Mr. Antonio Freyelli, the defendant.
Yes, sir.
Very well, proceed.
I'd like to point out three things. He is a criminal, a no good liar, and just a no good.
Oh, okay, hold on. Do you have a no? Hold on. Do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay, proceed with your question. Do not make any statements.
How do you plan to keep up this lie?
Okay. No, that's not. There's
Not a
no
valid question.
basis for anything that's been deemed a lie right now. So unless you have another question based on the facts that have been presented to you,
I feel like everything I have stated is a fact.
right now you're making assumptions based on the evidence. You're not considering.
Sounds like an opinion.
Assumptions? They're not assumptions, sir.
Your Honor, motion to dismiss. Question.
Granted. Next is Leiden. Leiden, I believe you can just. Oh, never mind. You can't just speak. Leiden, I can't find your icon. Can you raise your hand? There you are.
I don't know if you see my message, but I don't really got any questions as of right now.
Very well.
How do I go back now? Oh, there.
I just got. Next is T Bacon. Please raise your hand.
Good evening, Your Honor. I have a few questions for Mr. Freyelli.
Very well, proceed.
I'd like to direct your guys' attention to the evidence submitted by the defense. Defense 04 in particular, it's going to be slide 3 and slide 4. In the evidence submitted for the location of the CCTV footage and the camera placement, the camera is pointed at what looks to be the water tower that is in front of the camera, but in slide 4 there is no water tower depicted or any of the other like guardrails and stuff for the roads. So is that picture in slide 4 a edited version or a zoomed in version of the footage, or is it the entire capture of the camera?
Mr. Freyelli, you're muted again.
Hello, Doug.
Slide 4 is the actual CCTV footage still. Slide 5 is a recreation photo after the fact with the vehicle closer to a light source in an earlier time of the evening with brighter overall conditions that show that even in much better lighting, much clearer weather, in an earlier time of day, you can still not make out who is in the vehicle from that angle, which the officer, didn't even technically reach.
Is the picture in slide 4 zoomed in or edited, or is it the raw full field of view of that camera?
Yeah, I believe it is zoomed in just to show the vehicle and how dark, the actual tinting is in the evening and that time of day.
That's all my questions, Your Honor.
Very well. And I believe last one is Dewey. Dewey, yes, you can. You don't have to request. You can just.
He's already here.
There you go. I actually have a couple questions for Mr. Powell, based off of a lot of these questions are unknown. If I overstep, please let me know. Before I ask my questions, I would like to state we can disregard any information on Mr. Game Nerd's time up here from the appeal board to be used at all, based off of the unfairness of this trial.
Yes, in appeal board in appeal board instructions, I'll include that.
Okay. My first question, Mr. Powell, is do you have the time of this stop?
It was given as later in the evening, about nighttime.
Okay. My next question for you, sir, is do you know specifically, based off of the trooper's information, what side he did approach the vehicle from? Was that ever stated from him?
It was in his testimony. He did approach from the passenger side.
Okay. My third question is, were there any other prints pulled from the vehicle or even looked for when you guys were looking for prints?
The forensics was done on the driver's seat because that was the person in question that warranted the print being taken, and no other prints were found.
Okay. Last question I have, this is purely based on the unknown on my part. The warrant that was posted as evidence, was that, how I'm looking at it, I'm unsure if the rest of the information on there, I see it's not filled out. Is that standard or? was that missed?
To my recollection, there was actually 2 warrants. You have to refer to the judge on that. There was something in the report, and we're still trying to get the warrant system set up.
Okay. The only reason why I ask is the warrant that I do have that we were given in the appeal, it seems a lot of information is missing, and I wanted to question the issuing officer's signature was signed by the judge, so I'm not sure on how that was supposed to work. The only reason why I asked this is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I didn't know you had more. Keep going.
I was just saying the only reason why I asked is
Okay,
because I
what's
want to
that,
make
sir?
sure that I'm correct on my question here on the warrant, on if it was completed fully and if it was signed correctly, just based off of what I'm reading.
Are you referring to the document labeled Antonio_warrant?
Correct.
Yeah, from my understanding, that warrant is taken as fact due to the system we have in place.
And this is to verify once more the fillable PDF file and not the Sonoran CAD warrant.
Correct. Yes, I didn't see the Sonoran CAD warrant if there was one out there. Just based off, I didn't see that in any of the evidence issued to us.
That's actually my mistake. There wasn't one. It was just this. What is your hesitation? Hesitation is the wrong word, but what are you showing is not filled out? Just for
Well,
verification.
my questions on the actual PDF was, I do see the judge's signature over the issuing officer's signature. I was unsure if that was correct, and I just saw that the return information and the second page information, none of that was filled out. Again, this is knowledge that I'm not aware of. I just wanted to make sure that that was correct, or properly filled out for the warrant.
Yes, that's my signature. This was the document that I was given by the U.S. Marshals, and the return section currently is not implemented. But my signature above issuing officer is the correct place until we can get a more permanent template for a extradition or warrant such as this.
Okay, yeah, that's all. I just wanted to clear that up just to make sure I was reading that correctly and wanted to clear that up with you guys. Okay, yeah, that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, the last appeal board member has asked his final question. Mr. Powell, if you have any closing arguments, you may proceed.
Okay. Just real quick, can we make sure we disregard any consideration as to the legitimacy of the warrant, as that was just like a RP boundary that we have now?
Yes, the extradition warrant is deemed legitimate for this case.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the audience and the appeal board, I believe that we're coming back to you with the promises that I made in the beginning have been delivered. Mr. Freyelli is a businessman, is a philanthropist, as he claims, and is again, acclaimed man of the people. However, it doesn't really seem to be a man of the people when he is a menace to society by creating these situations where he's putting the public in danger. And I believe I've proved that that was him committing these acts tonight. Your Honor, if you could please publish the final piece of evidence, which would be the map. It's going to be section. It's going to be P06, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, the appeal board, please direct your attention to the appeal board channel. Proceed.
So, to recount the events, Mr. Freyelli was going from the freeway, made contact with the officer right there at, I believe, 319, and was coming at him. So the officer saw into the vehicle, a very prominent figure like Mr. Freyelli is pretty easily recognizable. I mean, he didn't ID because he didn't stop him, get his ID, get his address, get his phone number, which is what's required for the state patrol. So he classified it as a partial ID. But he testified to, under threat of perjury, that he saw the facial features and likeness of Mr. Freyelli in both the front and his body figure on the side when he approached the vehicle. The vehicle was
Objection.
speeding. No,
Can't object.
nothing about
These cannot be objected to unless there's illegal evidence, and he's referring to evidence that's already been in discovery.
Channel switched.
10-4.
The vehicle was approaching him, and the radar caught him speeding. So the officer shifted his attention towards the vehicle. So there was no way he wasn't paying attention, or there wasn't just a small little glimpse of maybe he saw him, maybe he didn't. It was dark. No, the officer was paying attention as they're trained to do in the academy, and followed procedure by pulling Mr. Freyelli over. When he initiated the traffic stop, he got out, approached the vehicle, which attempted to make contact, and the vehicle sped off. As you can see, the contact there is in the blue
User joined
circle,
your channel.
and the red is the path that they took during the pursuit. Where the path goes is all throughout this town, where they are speeding, crossing lines, running stop signs. There's pedestrians in the way, and those are your counts of reckless driving, reckless endangerment. I mean, you could have hurt the officer or any other person on the road. And they're approaching these streets at high rates of speed. He gets on the interstate, and again, the officer testified to terminating the pursuit due to the safety involved in the citizens, and they lost contact with the vehicle, which they followed department policy to the letter, even down to the identification specifications. This trooper followed policy. So why would that be altered, and he would be lying about seeing Mr. Freyelli, a prominent figure in the community? But a man of the people would not endanger the lives of those he says he protects and that he helps. The vehicle was found at the orange circle down there at the Yellow Jack, and it was abandoned. There were no occupants in the vehicle, and there were no occupants belonging to that vehicle inside the Yellow Jack. So what happened was Mr. Freyelli went over to the airport, caught a plane, and left. He left the state of New Hanover. It's right there. It's a very easily accessible area for him to reach. The airport, as you can even see in the aerial photo, has no infrastructure to charter commercial flights, and he even said it was a small little plane. There's not a lot of commercial flights that have small little planes. That's not standard procedure. You don't have to be a TSA employee. You don't have to know the structure of an airport to know if someone who flies as much as Mr. Freyelli would know that flying commercial when you have a fleet of planes does not make sense. His testimony was constantly, well, I misstated. Oh, well, it's constant misstatements or changing the testimony, whereas nothing from the prosecution side was ever altered. Mr. Freyelli lied about the news. He has conflicted testimony about the news. He had conflicted testimony about the fact that he didn't know which side the person pulled up on. He has pictures in his own defense of recreations that look exactly like the supposed CCTV footage, and they look identical. And even the jurors selected that he said, hey, there's not even a water tower in the background. So at the best case scenario, it's zoomed in, but even at that face value, you cut out the officer at the stop. Why would you do that? There's also no flashing lights in the background of those photos. Why? If he was getting stopped by a police officer, why were there not flashing lights in the background? Those lights illuminate everything around you. So everything about this sworn testimony that has been submitted stinks. And I'm sure the ladies and gentlemen of the appeal board can see right through it, just as I did, and just as the state of New Hanover and the people that I represent do. This man's luck has ran out. He's taking you all for a fool. He believes just because he wasn't ID'd at the scene then he should be found innocent. When all of our troopers just try to follow procedure and just try to save the people of New Hanover, should they be penalized for that by letting this man go free? I don't think so. This time, the glove does fit. We have the evidence to show that he was in the car. He was the only one in the car. He's the one that left. He was seen by the trooper, and he tried to fabricate evidence to show the other side of it. And if his plane tickets were so valid, why were they not submitted to the court? Why were they not published to the jury? It's because I try to look for them, and they don't exist. It's hard to subpoena things that does not exist. And I've tried to my wits' end with this testimony, but I just keep finding holes. And I would like the jury to please keep this in mind when rendering your verdict. Your Honor, I rest my case.
Mr. Freyelli, if you have any closing arguments, you may begin.
Oh, thank you, Your Honor. First and foremost, I'd like to again, thank the members of the jury here for taking time out of their busy day and their busy schedule to be here to perform a duty I believe is most important and crucial in the legal process. I had some notes. I had a whole thing kind of mapped out in my head to what I was gonna say, but after the atrocious, unbiased, and inflammatory attacks leveled against me, I just want to point out a couple of things, and then I'll let you all go. The burden of proof is on the accuser. The DA asked, why didn't I submit this? Why didn't I submit that? It's not my job. I'm not going to do your job for you over here. Why didn't you submit that? Where's your proof that you asked anyone about anything over here? Secondly, the state's main piece of evidence is a witness who, by his own admission, said he cannot be 100% certain that it was me in that vehicle, as he never got my ID, he never heard my voice, he never made contact with me. But the DA would like to twist this fact about DNA in my car. Oh, a car that you drive that belongs to you has got your DNA in it. Oh, alert the media over it. I ask you, members of the jury, after hearing the stretching and philandering of evidence that the prosecution has tried to present over here, to consider the material facts and the solid evidence that the defense has presented. There's one thing at stake in this court case, and that's time. And time is a precious resource that we can never get back. If you consider going back, looking at court regs and legislation reform and news segments, anyone can fall victim to these false claims, government overreach, and trumped up charges. I mean, you think about a guy who serves 25 years, is later exonerated. He's told, our bad, you're free to go. Does that make up for the life he's lost with his children, with his wives, with his grandkids? I think not. I think not. That, ladies and gentlemen of the jury and the audience, is what we are trying to prevent here today. Because when good people are silent, the innocent people suffer. So, in closing, as you deliberate, keep in mind that the defendant nor the driver of the alleged vehicle was ever positively ID'd, making those charges all but preposterous. If you would be okay with your father, your wife, your sister, your son getting locked in a cage with such minimal and baseless and unfounded evidence, well then I fear that we're in a sad state of affairs. So the defense would obviously like to be dismissed on all charges because of the underwhelming evidence and manufactured narrative provided by the prosecution. That is all, Your Honor. The defense rests.
Okay, both sides have delivered closing arguments. I will now instruct the appeal board on their up-and-coming task. Gentlemen of the appeal board, the time has come for you to enter the appeal board chambers and discuss your votes for a verdict. We did have a small outburst of accusations by a certain appeal board member, pointing accusatory statements towards the defendant. Baseless, I should add. You will disregard all remarks made by this appeal board member, and also note that this individual is no longer a member of this appeal board. You must consider all the evidence you've seen and testimony you've heard when making your decision. You must not let your personal beliefs or biases or any previous or current relationships with anyone involved in this case cloud your judgment. If you have asked either side a question and they have elected to plead the fifth when answering, you must not allow this to influence your decision. When deliberating, you must consider only the facts that have been brought forth in this case, and you must avoid making unsubstantiated opinions or inferences. When you have finished your deliberation, please select one person to act as your foreman or your spokesperson. You will all re-enter the courtroom VC after your deliberation, at which point I will confirm with the foreman that you have reached a majority vote verdict. Each count will be read out loud, and the foreman shall give an answer of guilty or not guilty. If none of you have any questions for me, you are free to enter the appeal board chambers at this time. Or I can pull you guys down if you can't get in there.
You want me to go down there too?
You're an appeal board member. Come on, man.
Okay, I'll pull you guys down.
You're good. You're new, right? Well, this will be our first, so we'll see how it goes.
Apparently, I've got the wrong. There it is. Got my bar part. Still sitting at 37.
Be advised, they're not parked properly due to a vehicle accident.
Ever.
Oh, one. Do we have a vehicle stage to transport Mr. Freyelli if we need to?
A firm, I'm currently sitting here and unmarked.
Copy that. You're going to be on the left side or the right side?
Left side, on the right next to the entrance with the two officers.
Copy that.
Delta 59, who said they needed?
Who's the
who that
fucking
person?
child? Jesus.
Delta 59, go ahead and stay like right around the front center area of the building.
Affirm.
Juliet 29, King 03. If we do have to take him out of here, do you want me to grab my rifle?
Affirm, sir. Just grab it out of the locker whenever we walk out. But my plan is to get everybody that's in the courtroom out first, and then we'll hold Mr. Freyelli inside until everybody's clear of the courthouse, and then we will extract them out.
Copy.
Be advised, Delta 59's outside and ready.
Mr. Powell, while they're deliberating, can I see you in chambers real quick, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's improper. They're going to chambers. Freyelli should go too.
(613), we have an individual with a firearm on his waist, crouching around the front end of the courthouse.
Affirm. We've seen him.
Copy.
Be advised, I see him. He's going around the backside. He's running. He's sprinting.
Something at a fire hydrant up there?
Negative, it was an AI.
Delta 59 to the units on the other side of the or on the right side of the courthouse. Make sure watch for a male in a gray shirt walking around back there.
Over.
Drone 1 has repositioned to the back.
The individual's currently running up the left side of the sidewalk here towards the left entrance.
A-firm, we did have him sneaking around, and they said he had a weapon, I believe.
Affirm, he's got a firearm on his right hip.
He was crouching around the front of the building, and then he saw me, and then he ran around the side.
Units, be careful. He just asked me how much trouble you're getting if he climbed on top of the courthouse.
Be advised, I am by the ladder right now.
A-firm, hold there for now.
A-firm.
State 38, I'm already gonna be up on the roof.
A-firm. Go ahead and stay there and just hold ladder position just to keep the watch of states back.
A-firm.
Is that you moving around? Yep, I got you.
Do we have an update on that male with the gray shirt with the firearm?
He's sitting next to a bunch of seaside individuals. I have eyes.
A-firm.
Are we using this gray unmarked Chevy Tahoe as a vehicle for the individual?
A-firm.
I copy. You might want to move a little bit closer.
A-firm, I didn't want to move in until the verdict was given.
Copy.
Drone 1, is that a officer that just walked by the mailbox going around the
User
corner?
joined your channel.
Gonna say that's a negative, sir.
10-4, they just came from the side of the back side of the courthouse and then are now near the street at the corner. So I didn't know if that was Elio or not.
Be advised, it's me.
Make sure y'all have your blips on. State.
Repeat last.
I was calling out a state 01.
Oh, affirm.
Go ahead.
No, just making sure your blip was on, sir.
Uh-huh.
Delta 59 to Drone 1?
Go.
Did you see me, or did you actually see somebody?
Are you on the backside by yourself?
A-firm.
I've seen him shoot. He ain't gonna hit the broadside
Or
of
I
the
got
fucking
eyes
barn.
on you walking back and forth.
A-firm.
– 613 drone 1. You might want to move your person. You're standing in the middle of the road.
Medics. Negative. That's gonna be a illusion, if you will.
Affirm.
Drone 1 is actually in an alleyway.
Medic 17, med 1. Medic 17, med 1.
401 Medic 17. I believe his call sign's going to be Drone 1.
Medic 17, Med 16.
Go for drone 1.
Close to Med 1.
That's an affirm.
Will you advise him Med 17 is trying to contact?
Affirm.
Drone 1, Med 17, Drone 1, I have you on mobile command.
User in your channel timed out.
Medic 16, Drone 1.
User joined your
Damn,
channel.
Dewey crashed out bad, didn't he?
Medic 16 to Drone 1.
Send it.
Medic 17 is trying to contact you, sir.
10-4, have him come into LEO.
Affirm. Medic 16, Medic 17.
17, go. Drone 1 called you.
Get in the LEO, please. He's trying to get hold of you there.
10-4.
What's up, Mason?
Medic 17, Drone 1, go.
You requested?
Negative at this time. I just was advising I have you overhead on cameras. Out of mobile command.
And what was the point of that?
10-4.
.517 mic check.
Lima Charlie, sir. What's up, Numpire?
29 King of 3. Got all of the biker sitting there with a cigarette in his mouth.
.401, weren't we confiscating tobacco before they entered the courthouse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got home probably about 7 o'clock, and I've been doing this since. This was a criminal trial on fleeing and evading. Currently at about 2 hours, 10 minutes.
.613. I just saw an individual on the side of 642. Disregard. Unmarked vehicle. Watch that guy. He keeps hovering around his trunk.
Affirm.
What side?
642. We got an individual in a black suit with a white undershirt, hovering around a two-door luxury car. He's hanging around his trunk.
10-4, I've been watching him. You're talking the white car, white and black one?
Affirm.
Yeah, I was gonna have one of you guys check him out. He's been acting a little suspicious and has been there the whole time. Halfway through the hearing.
517. I'll go check him out.
everybody else seems to look like they're behaving themselves.
Yeah, for now. Oh, you're getting ATS? Awesome, dude. I'll have
517.
to
What's the description on the male that's acting suspicious?
click the link after you do
Gonna
that.
be all black
Get
suit,
the links
standing next to a
below.
luxury car, to the road, black and white. He's got a flat cap with a white undershirt.
Yeah, get the
He's gonna be at the opposite end of where you are right now.
get the links below. Those are the mods
Coming
that I
up on
run,
them
and you
right
can
now,
play with.
yes.
We can play together at some point. Yeah, dude, I picked the whole thing up for like $20 maybe. 20, maybe $30 when it was on sale back when I was playing it earlier. Haven't really been on there lately, but I need to get back on there.
$517. This is his car. He's claiming it is.
Hey, firm. He's just been hanging around his trunk and going in and out of that maintenance area.
Hey, firm.
Drone 1, I can confirm that as well.
Drone 1, I'll continue to keep eyes on him over here at the staircase.
10-4, I lost eyes. I had another individual on the right-hand side playing peek around the corner at the officers at the front, so keep your guard up.
Ever.
He's in a black car. I don't know, he's gone at this point. I don't know where he
User
went.
joined your channel.
Ever.
401 King 03.
Send it, sir.
Can I have a word with you in the lobby, sir?
Copy that. I'm coming out.
.402 back active and in service. STPD command.
You in charge of extrication, right?
Yes, sir. So we're gonna take him into the back room so everybody gets out of the courtroom. Once we get officers up here at the front door, if he is getting convicted, we will escort him to Frank's vehicle, and we'll all escort him to Sandy PD.
Okay. And if he is found not guilty, what's the plan?
He's found not guilty. We will escort him out of the building to his vehicle and send him on his way. Make sure he doesn't get hurt by anybody.
Okay.
That's outside. There has been a couple threats going around on Twitch. So.
Yeah. I had a thought. It might be better. I'm not saying it's the best idea, but it might be better to have him get out of the building first and hold the audience, since we already have outside threats,
Mobile command
and release the audience after he's into a vehicle.
Okay.
Can you bring me a drink?
Just a
when you
thought. I'm
come
not
over?
saying turn everything on its
Alright.
head, but
Looks like
Yeah. Well, I know the Suns.
members of the
the
appeal board
Suns
are
gonna
back.
Try to protect him. So.
okay.
I
Okay.
know we're
Members of
gonna
the
have
appeal
help on
board,
that
welcome
side.
back. Can the
Looks like
foreman
they're-
please raise their
red
hand?
Vehicle
Looks like they're giving the
651
verdict.
parked
We'll go
in the
back
middle of
in.
the street.
Yep.
Drone 1 to that officer that was watching that luxury car.
Sorry,
He's
I
now
can't
doing
raise my hand, so I
circles.
just thought I'd come up here.
Okay,
Hey,
so
firm. I
okay.
just saw
making
him
sure.
haul ass around the corner.
Members of the appeal
10-4,
board,
now he is parked in the middle
have you reached a
of
verdict
the
on each count?
road, going
Yes,
back
Your Honor,
around
we
the
have.
block.
Very well. On count 1, felony evading
Hey, firm. I think he's
times
trying to
2,
find
how
a
do you
way up.
find?
The appeal board has found the defendant not guilty.
On count 2, reckless endangerment times 4, how do you find?
The appeal board, sir, has found the defendant not guilty.
On count 3, reckless driving times 3, how do you find?
We have found the defendant not guilty.
And on the 4th and final count, failure to exercise due care, how do you find?
We have found the defendant on this charge, Your Honor, not guilty.
Gentlemen, the court thanks you for your service. Mr. Freyelli, this court, abiding by all the laws
or by all laws of the U.S. Constitution and the state of New Hanover, has found you not guilty. At this time, you are free to go, and double jeopardy